Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons The Second Age, Season 8. How are we all doing?
Oh shit.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
doing.
we got 8 seasons.
It's fine. We're doing just fine.
Feels like
Not like-
session 1, so it feels like session 0 was just yesterday.
Or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Well, to be fair, like session 0, the party basically wiped, right? If I remember correctly.
Yep,
Pretty much.
Yep, pretty much.
Everyone but one. Wait.
It's the closest you've ever come to all dying at once.
Yep.
Except
I don't
for
know.
Minnie.
Down underneath the city was pretty bad that one.
Yeah,
Also,
like
Yeah,
so
true,
under-
yeah.
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 Honestly,
But I mean, that means we're doing pretty well. Like,
Don't
let's not
jinx
jinx it. Touch wood, touch wood. Yep.
Damn.
So yeah.
Yeah, but Lyra's gonna be a
Yeah.
direwolf. Woo!
yeah.
Oh yeah, did we actually
Oh.
do your level up?
No!
We did not. Cool.
No.
Oh, there you go.
Uh,
Level up.
It's okay, it shouldn't be that difficult, I just have to overwrite
It's
it,
not.
so
I think
actually-
it's literally just changing Lyra's stats and then.
Well, you get the other thing, but we can add that later, because that's just text.
Yeah.
get more text. Woohoo!
More
I have-
text. What exactly I
Here's
wanted.
reading.
Uh,
But yeah, while I do that, why don't people tell us about what happened the last time we played this game?
well, last time, where do we begin? We began after we had just opened a treasure hoard that belonged to what's her name again?
Lady Vasulia.
Lady Vasulia. After which, we hastily tried to make our way out. Well, I say hastily, we raided the library first,
Yeah.
whilst the spore creatures were swarming into the building. We managed to fight them off, get stuff from the library, opened the front door, and there was a whole lot more of them. We almost got overwhelmed. We managed to close the door back. Close the door again. We found another way out on the side of the building, and then we ran away real quick.
Yeah.
Um,
Monty Python like with everyone just going, run away, run away, run away.
yeah, it was fine.
And the Guardian yelled retreat. Wait, hang on a minute.
And then we got to the beach, had a little fight before we could leave, and hopped on our magical boat, waited for pickup, whilst the volcano was erupting in the background.
Very dramatic.
And,
It's extremely dramatic.
well, hey, we weren't on the island, so it's fine.
And hey, there's no way they finished building that boat in the 5 minutes that's between us leaving and the volcano erupting.
Yeah, hopefully not.
It was more like 8 hours, but sure. The volcano didn't start erupting till the next day.
Yeah.
Look, it's fine.
Yeah, regardless, we got
Even then, there's not a lot of time
we got
to
picked
build.
up by our friendly captain. Then we, once we arrived back in port, we decided to see if we could find our I want to say friend, but
Secretive magic collector man.
yes, who apparently has the ability to repair artifacts, or at least the connections required. But upon our arrival, seems like the place was in trouble, or something is out of order. And as we entered the building, we heard raised voices. As we called out, they shut up, and that's pretty much exactly where we left off.
It is indeed.
Was Arya going around the back just in case they're around?
That's pretty much exactly how. Is it pretty much how we left off? Or exactly? It can't. It's not really both.
Close enough.
It is indeed.
So yeah, let's do this.
Allow me to briefly just take a moment to finish sorting this out for Luka.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Elizabeth
So
turns to the
it
party,
is-
left fingers crackling with lightning, and just goes, "I like to keep this for close encounters." No, she doesn't.
There's one thing I forgot to mention. There was a little visit from
Oh yes.
during the night.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, somebody had a drink.
Grim
but we'll,
had a dream.
Yes, but we'll.
Grim
get
woke
into
up and
that.
went, "I had a dream," and everyone's like going, "He had a dream."
Except with less singing.
Yeah, there was no singing.
Significantly
Also, I don't think
less
Grim even
singing.
mentioned having a dream.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we know that in character.
That's not what
No,
happened.
because
I'm
it
just
was.
trying to look. I'm just trying to fill time by making stupid references.
But I believe, because I believe it was on the night before, or as just before we arrived in port, pretty much.
Pretty much, yes.
So haven't really had the time yet.
Yeah, I was just trying to fill time by making stupid Disney references. This episode is not sponsored by Disney.
God,
No,
if we had Disney money, you think we'd be doing this shit?
we would not.
Well, I can't believe you would abandon us over money, all of you.
Minnie.
I'm sorry. There's a lot of things I do for money, because
Wow.
a girl's gotta
Wow.
live.
Wow.
A girl's gotta live.
Wait, no, you don't have to.
I gotta
you don't have
live.
to leave for money.
I gotta get therapy, man. I need money for this shit.
Wow.
What did you say, Minnie?
So, well, just because you have money doesn't mean you have to leave.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I know,
Well, yeah.
right?
I mean, it does. Technically, it does mean that if it's written in the contract,
That's true. That would be it would be weird to be bought out by Disney and then shut down.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yes.
what?
Disney. Honestly, Disney HQ has been rife with the panic of, oh my god, how do we deal with Second Age? They're such a major competitor. They're
Yeah, I
stealing
know.
all of our viewership. What are we gonna do?
See,
There's definitely an overlap.
Like, don't
Little do
worry,
we
they're a bunch
know.
of corruptible young adults. We'll just buy them out.
little do we
Weird.
know they actually have a machine that predicts the future.
Oh, right.
This is going to be
Yeah.
the biggest hit in the world.
Yeah.
They're like, shit, we gotta stop them.
Yeah, we've got to stop them at Second Age before the ever popular Third Age shows up.
That's when she gets real. in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
third
yeah.
age.
Stick
Oh,
around
no,
for
like-
Dungeons and Dragons: The Third Age, coming whenever the hell we either defeat the hell out of these villains or
TPK.
all
Yeah,
die.
Oh, TPK.
So basically,
Look.
Dungeons and Dragons: The Third Age could either be an idyllic, everyone loves adventurers, isn't this a great day, getting inevitably ruined,
Oh wait, hang on, I don't know.
or it's gonna be a really dark as shit, everyone died fantasy.
No, but
Could be
you see, there's going to be that one point where everybody thinks it's over and we're done for, and then we come back again with Age Origins. Just
you know what-
Oh my
no,
god.
You know
Wow.
what it's gonna be? You know what it's gonna be, right? We're gonna get into the final fight, and just before we get TP killed, Chtharian shows up and opens up a portal and throws us through it, where we appear several hundred years into the future to save the world.
Yep.
Wait,
Wow.
so we
Was
failed
that
at
another
saving the
fucking
world.
Samurai Jack reference?
What do you mean another?
That's not what I said, but
Oh, I thought you said another Samurai
You-
Jack.
You
reference.
did say another.
I said a motherfucking Samurai Jack
Oh.
reference.
Right.
It sounded a lot like another.
Well, also no, because Chtharian, Chtharian's not the bad guy. It's the bad guy who sends Jack into the future.
It's true.
Anyway,
Get your lore right, Rob.
Oh my
Jeez.
God,
Look.
I can't believe
Oh
you're
my
not a
God, you don't know
Samurai
anything
Jack fan.
Samurai Jack.
it is a long
Wow.
time since I watched Samurai Jack.
He's a fake,
so
he's a
Also
fake
true.
fan.
Fake fan.
I was
Fake
ne-
fan of Samurai
wasn't really
Jack.
that much of a fan.
Wow.
Damn.
Hashtag fake
The
fan.
the biggest dunk on a cup.
Right, I don't think
I
I
mean-
can do this anymore, guys.
Yeah, of all the Cartoon Network series that deserved another season, Osmosis Jones is higher than.
Osmosis
Samurai
Jones is
Jack.
not a series. It's a movie.
Yeah, it was a
It
movie.
has a
heard
TV
of it.
series as well.
What?
What?
How have you not seen this?
I have
Okay,
never
I
heard
hated
of
Osmosis Jones with like all my heart as a kid,
Wow.
so
Okay.
it made me cry as a
Let's
child.
let's just stay friends and stop talking about this.
Oh my god.
Let's not fall
I can't
out
believe
of
this is what causes the true
childhood.
end of Second Age. Is fucking.
That's it.
control.
It's a player bickering because we can't decide on which
Osmosis.
children's TV show was best.
Anyway.
I mean, we can all agree on Avatar: The Last Airbender, so
Oh wait,
Yeah,
yeah,
fair
no,
enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
solved.
There you go.
Wait,
Avatar: The Last
Avatar to who now?
Airbender, the
No.
glue that holds us all together.
Oh my god, Minnie.
Minnie. Shush. So. I guess actually we should probably change up.
Oh no, but the calm music.
Yeah,
Well,
I was like the
it's-
calm music. I want to be calm.
Is this the right track? I don't
Oh
even know
my
if this is the
God.
right track.
Are you playing
Uh,
Destiny music?
It'll do. It's not Destiny music. I
That's
don't
copyrighted.
actually know what this is.
It sounded so much like Destiny music when it started.
It's just choral music. I don't know what it is.
It doesn't have to be game music. Can you believe
It probably is, but it isn't Destiny.
yeah.
Where it's from,
fine.
nobody knows.
This is
So
when we get sued by some like third party.
except we don't make any money off this. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
That
This is
won't
not for
stop-
profit.
That won't stop them. Anyway.
Yeah. So, Elizabeth, you are like feet away from the door that you know leads into this inner chamber. The conversation has ceased as you call out. A couple of feet behind you are both Kelariis and Grim, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I guess I'd like to lean round the corner to look into the main room.
So the door currently is pushed to, although it's not.
Oh,
It's not flush with the frame, but it is. There is. You can't see
Okay.
through it currently.
well then, yeah. I guess I'll slowly push the door open and lean in.
Okay.
Like not walking in, just like leaning around the corner.
So you peer around this corner, and the sight in front of you is of a quite clearly some sort of ruckus or conflict that has paused momentarily due to your interruption. Backed into one corner up against the many crates and shelves that line Odirban Tarland's workshop, so to speak, is Odirban himself. He turns towards you as the source of the disturbance in the room, but is still very much pressed up against the stack of cases. Standing between him and the doorframe is a half-elf who, in one hand, holds basically a long silvered chain that ends in like almost like a hooked spike. That's sort of like hanging loosely from a hand, and as your eyes fall on this individual, you watch as like basically they turn towards you with basically like a smaller version of Grimm's one of Grimm's war darts tucked between two fingers. Basically as if they are like ready to throw it if you make a hostile action. What's your reaction to this?
I guess she just sort of goes, Is this a bad time? What's going on?
The half elf pauses for a moment and just sort of takes you in with a sort of a perplexed look on their face.
Yeah, I'm not stepping into the room. I'm still leaning around the corner. I don't want. I'm not trying to. I want to be able to duck behind the wall
Yeah.
if he throws the dart at me.
He pauses for a moment and says, "Come in and don't make a scene."
I guess I'll do that.
Did we hear that in the hallway?
Yes, you hear this whole conversation.
Yeah, and I'm
You're literally only a few. You're a few feet behind Elizabeth, but just not visible in the doorframe.
Yeah, I'm
gonna start getting the bag with Medusa head, ready.
Okay.
What?
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
I'm just gonna
Yeah,
sort of,
I mean,
yeah, I'm just gonna sort of step into the room with my hands up as if to show, look, I don't have anything on me.
Yeah,
I don't have
okay.
anything in my hand.
The half elf turns to Odirban and sort of says, "Who is this?" He just sort of offers a negative token and says, "A customer."
There's more here. She's
Yeah,
not alone.
I have company.
We'll just walking in.
we're doing
Okay.
this.
You sort of
Yeah, okay.
begin to sidle into the room. As the two of you enter, I guess that there's a visible change in the half-elf's demeanor as the two of you enter, and there's almost like a moment of realization or recognition.
Oh.
He lowers the dart and puts it back with a number of others along his belt, and just sort of says, "I know you."
I think the real question is, do we recognize?
You do not
Them?
recognize this individual at all.
Oh.
Well, this is,
Interesting.
great. So I guess that's sort of, that's one barrier crossed, right?
So, I am. I can't say I am. I am familiar with you.
No, that is quite correct. My name is Llewelyn Iavosi.
Excuse me?
I will type
Sorry.
that out.
Yeah. Spelling, please.
My name is having a small stroke. No.
Get your hand out your pants.
Wow.
What?
Rude.
Wow.
Yeah, the elf stows the small throwing knife, and doesn't retract the spiked chain weapon, but keeps it sort of to one side. I guess those of you who are in the room give me a perception check.
Perception.
Yeah.
Why do we always
Nice.
send Arya around back?
Right.
It's the worst idea.
I've got good perception.
Oh my god.
May
Okay.
not have elf eyes.
So, Elizabeth, you as the elf shifts posture, you can see this chain weapon for the first time, and the long silver chain that peters down into the hooked almost like it's like a small curved dagger set on a weighted end of a chain. The weighted end appears to be made of some sort of black, smoky metal, and the brass hooked end of it almost seems to radiate heat to the point where like the air around it is like distorting with like heat waves coming off it. I guess you could give me a history check to see if you can identify the behavior of this. Okay.
Nailed it.
So you have a from your education on like the inner planes, like the elemental planes. You know that there are some strange materials out there, and actually you've probably seen something similar in Grimm's possession. As this thing is made of elemental brass. And yeah, basically, as the elf like half of his demeanor change, his position like turns to one that's slightly more relaxed but still ready. They offer like a small, almost like a small bow, but without interrupting their the defensive stance they have against names. Odirban, who's up against the wall, and sort of says, "Yeah, my name is Llewelyn Iavosi. I'm the student of Master Smith Calistrati."
Oh my.
Jayla.
Sorry.
I don't believe. Oh, I was just gonna say, okay. Well, how about we start with why you're here?
I think that would be an excellent place to start.
Yeah.
Firstly, though, I have a request.
Go for
What is
it.
it?
I need answers from this one. He cannot be allowed to escape.
Well. Oh, actually,
What answers?
And about
To cut a long story short, this man is a smuggler. He trades in powerful, dangerous, and sometimes illegal artifacts. I need to find out what happened to a number of shipments that passed through him. At this point, sort of, Tarland sort of holds hands forwards for a moment and says, "I'm perfectly happy to answer these questions. There's no need for all of this tension."
yes.
perhaps this can be done without any further. Just kind of like gestures to the what I assume is kind of a little bit of a mess of a room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do have to understand that, like, you're kind of looking like the bad guy right now, but well, we're willing to.
Llewelyn sort of like takes in the scene of the room and sort of says, "I can understand how it came across that way. I'm sorry. I am used to operating under slightly more hostile conditions.
That's understandable.
I will stand down."
We should probably.
Get Arya.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, do you want to do that?
Well,
Well, that means you got like Well, that's the thing. Do you want us to go outside and get her, or shall I just get her like without moving?
That's up to you.
Well, you know what? Since he knows you, I imagine there's some sort of, like some sort of thing that can be explained there. So I'm just gonna go get her normally.
Right.
I'll just sort of awkwardly shuffle out the door
Well,
and head round back.
So yeah, Elizabeth, you head off and find Arya. You sort of have a brief jog around the block until you find her. For those of you who are inside, you watch as Llewelyn sort of with a flick wraps the chain around his arm until the pointed metal end lands in his palm, and you notice, like, as he closes his grip around it, there's like a faint hiss of like hot metal, like being pressed against fabric, and you notice that he is basically wearing like a set of like not quite heavy gloves, but gloves that are obviously designed to handle like hot metal.
Right.
And he wraps up the chain and then quickly pulls it off, turning like the glove inside out, so that the thing is bundled up inside, and then hooks the end of the chain and the pouch into his belt.
That's a fancy one.
Thank you. It was crafted by my master.
I believe that.
considering what we know, just to be sure that we're speaking of the same person, about the same person. This is Lafari Calistrate, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she was quite a wild one. Oh.
He sort of you watch as his from like the attire that this guy wears, he basically the external clothing consists of sort of like a sleeveless like top tunic that goes down into a set of slightly more lightweight trousers, which is actually, now that you examine it, is not entirely dissimilar to the sort of the clothing that Lafari wore when you met her the first time. Clearly designed to allow sort of like a greater degree of freedom of mobility. But you watch as Llewelyn sort of takes a step or two forwards, and sort of like visibly like goes through the motions of like rolling his shoulders, sort of like cooling down after like the small altercation. Which leaves you sort of in no illusion that this guy is some sort of martial artist.
So, whilst we
Everyone's considered.
so we have a bunch of stuff to figure out. That's clear. How about we get ourselves a table, get her some chairs or whatever is around, and get this on our way.
That sounds like a sound strategy. This Llewelyn sort of grabs a nearby chair and pulls it over. There's not really like a huge amount of room in this workshop to move stuff around. There's mostly just piles of things. But yeah, you manage to get like a number of chairs around a table. Arya and Elizabeth, you sort of step back into this room. Arya, for the first time, you're seeing this room that's sort of like it basically looks like a number of the things have sort of been kicked around in a small ruckus.
I'm guessing I should close the door.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna close the door with
You-
all of its many, many locks.
Okay, yeah, you close behind it, and as you begin to do the first few locks, it doesn't do sort of the thing that you witnessed last time, where it sort of redid itself manually. You have to sort of go through them one by one. But you step back into the room, and Llewelyn sort of says, "Yes, I suppose at this stage, a small apology is in order. I've spent a great deal of time in a hostile environment recently. I'm somewhat used to dealing with things where the people I'm speaking to are generally more likely to go for a weapon. I was expecting Tarland here to be of the same caliber." Odirban sort of says, "Well, when you came bursting in like that, I did almost reach for a weapon, but the speed of the altercation made me rethink things somewhat."
Probably a good idea.
I do
So,
object to your characterization, however.
So, well, I take it from that it was that you went in guns blazing, as they say. Well, let's get some of the points of order in. We're just gonna do this step by step, figure out what's going on, and then we can go on. Everybody can get on their way, hopefully. So you were talking about missing shipments.
Not so much missing as things being sold that never should be sold. I assume from my experience from what Master Calistrati told me that you were all part of her research into a certain material.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. We went a lot further down the rabbit hole than we expected.
I've heard stories. The truth of the matter is, the information that you discovered down there and its connections to the Underdark, well, after finding out some more details, I have been looking into these exchanges and discovered rather more than I was perhaps expecting to find. There is apparently a great deal of trade in forbidden weapons, artifacts that supposedly have more destructive applications, at least in the wrong hands, and black steel weapons are among them. I made some discoveries. I need to remember the place that he went. Oh wait, I've written down. I travelled the furthest south I think I have ever been, to a place called Cindershell Landing. There is a community of, well, unusual folk that gather, both from our realms and the realms beneath the ground. The two live in a somewhat tentative unison. It is much easier to gather information on what is going on below ground from there, as those who tend to have displeased members of the Underdark houses tend to end up there for their own safety. Out of my research, I learned of a particular shipment of these weapons. I learned of the merchant, and he sort of indicates Odirban, and sort of says, the merchant who sold them, as well as the name of a buyer. I need to know more about that buyer.
So, the weapons that were sold, any idea of the size of the shipment?
All I know is it consisted of a number of heavy arms, somewhere between 5 and 10.
A decent number.
Yes. The importance of this shipment, though, is perhaps somewhat more than the volume and strength of these weapons, more the age and the potential for their origin. If I can find even one of them, it's possible through maker's marks or something of the kind that I can determine who originally made them and who they were originally commissioned for.
Well, I guess we could get to the next sensible step and ask forgot his name. Where's again?
Odirban.
Odirban, yes. Odirban. So, Odirban, what do you have to say about this?
Well, first and foremost, I'm not some black market underdealer. I'm an auction broker. I don't handle these goods. I just arrange sales. I don't ask any questions, and if people don't want to tell me what's in them, I don't ask. I just handle money. Also, if you're hoping that they're still here, I'm afraid they've already gone.
But if you handle the money, then surely you at least know who was buying.
Well, there are ways
Usually
around
in
that.
cases like this, I know perhaps a name. I'd never meet the individual. We have a point of exchange that is on neutral ground for everyone.
Yeah, and even the people that do show up are most likely servants or minions or.
The name would be
Yeah.
better than nothing, I'd imagine.
I guess you might as well get a starting point.
Odirban sort of grimaces as if he doesn't want to say it. At which point Llewelyn just sort of leans forward and says, "The name I found out from my point of contact was only a first name. Someone called Lycidius."
Now, why does that sound familiar?
That is the person. That's the
Very
the
specific.
vampire, isn't it? Lycidius is the vampire that we met.
Lycidius Aranda was the name of the vampire lord that you met.
Yeah. That's bad.
That's
very bad.
some bad
That's
shit.
what that is. Kelariis probably just like stiffens a little bit and like
Yeah.
takes in like
Yeah.
a sharp breath, like
Well,
you know.
yeah. In character, Liz just gonna be like, that was a seller or a buyer?
Odirban sort of looks reluctant again for a moment and says, "He's a buyer. From what I understand, a collector. He's had some dealings through me in the past. Not all of them went well, however."
What do you mean by that?
A few years ago, he tried to buy another particular weapon that I was auctioning the sale of. Unfortunately, it was lost in transit. Big embarrassment for everyone involved.
Yeah, and it's not the kind of the person you want to disappoint.
Do you mind if I ask what the weapon was?
Which one?
The one that was lost.
The one that was lost? I don't know too much about it, other than it was a sword of some religious significance.
Hey, out of character, that the last artifact that we know shit all about was a sword, right? Or was it a dagger?
Yeah, we're looking for a sword. Well, we have a name of the sword.
It's Jernizeth? Jernzieth?
Yes.
Jernizeth.
Jernizeth. Fuck. I'll get it one day, I swear.
Like, names aren't easy.
No, they're not. Especially when they're written in Abyssal. And have no direct translation.
Yeah. I mean, that just seems like too much of a coincidence to be pissed about a sword going missing and having been looking for shit, is what I'm just gonna throw out there, but... Lovely.
So, yeah. It's fairly safe to say that most of you would sort of maybe make that connection. That it could possibly be the same sword.
Well, so you got well, there's two of them, right? Or is the it
There's
was
there's the half elf.
Lee Black, the elf, right?
Llewelyn.
Hard to pronounce.
It's
like,
Welsh.
was he? Like he was.
It's
was
Welsh.
Just him.
Really? I couldn't have guessed.
Just him and Odirban, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Llewelyn, what are you? It's now that I know, or well, we have a very strong suspicion of who bought it. There's first off, I'm gonna suggest that you proceed with utmost caution, and I cannot honestly recommend you continue your on that path. However, because we can't help ourselves, where what so all you need is some way to identify where the weapons were manufactured, right?
He side eyes Odirban for a moment, as if sizing up whether or not he should say what he's going to say next.
Well, like if you're not I guess is it I assume it's noticeable then, because otherwise, like I can if you don't want to mention it here, we can step aside. But
No, I think it is. My suspicion, at least partially backed by what I learned from a number of people who've had dealings before in the trade. These particular items are likely they are of first-stage craftsmanship. These were possibly created before even the construction of the location that you found.
Wow.
They were possibly even the first creations made with the substance. Finding them could give clues as to how these sort of weapons were originally developed, and if they are as I suspect, they will have a maker's mark, a very old one, usually located somewhere along the handle or on the head of the weapon, if it is weighted in some way. Finding out who is responsible for the construction of these original weapons may explain how the secret fell into the hands of the Duragar. Knowing that
So-
would go a long way to helping my master's efforts to control its
So
distribution.
figuring out. So the top priority would be figuring out the mark, and then, if possible, I guess retrieve a copy, or well, not a copy, just one of the weapon.
If you could retrieve one of the weapons, it would be hugely helpful, even if it were just to take it out of potentially the wrong hands.
Oh, don't worry,
Based
they're
on what
very
we know-
much in the wrong hands.
Yeah,
Ah!
that sounds like a good idea regardless.
That is not comforting.
No, but like
Prefacing that sentence with, "Oh yeah, they're don't worry," is like not. You should definitely worry.
Llewelyn sort of leans back and says, "That is not comforting."
No.
Don't,
It is
don't
not.
worry, he's always like that. Ignore him.
I mean, as much as we'd like to say that is true for Grim, it's not exactly a great situation if the name is the person that we think it is.
Well, like all the there are a lot of pieces that are full, like, that would make sense, but I guess there's no guarantees. I guess the real problem here is do any of you have any clue as to how we want to track this down? Because even with that name, progress is gonna, slow at
Right.
best.
Yeah,
That leaves.
we know like basically nothing about it apart from his name and his allegiance.
Well, we know a little more. However, it does. Yeah, we have not contained the search area to as little as a single plane yet.
At this point, Llewelyn sort of says, "This is the kind of answers I was hoping to get out of," and he sort of nods towards
Yeah,
Odirban.
What was the vampire's surname again?
Zaranda.
Yeah, because Elizabeth probably just goes Zaranda. By surname is Zaranda. And he's he's a vampire lord?
Yeah.
Well, we've something along those lines at least.
He's a powerful vampire.
Llewelyn just sort of rubs the side of his face.
Mood.
Right?
I was so hoping for at least like an hour of normalcy, but Jesus Christ, before they just got off the boat.
You've been with us long enough that you should know that doesn't really happen.
Good point.
Well, I guess before we could discuss even more sensitive information, we should probably get as much as we can from, from you. Looking at Odirban.
Odirban sort of offers his palm and says, "At this point, I will tell you exactly what I told your hot-headed friend. I don't have that information. Well, I do, but not. I don't know it personally.
Then who does?
In our point of exchange, there is a book. It contains essentially all of the information on every transaction that we deal in. That information is entered separately by each individual so that people like myself can stay as far away from these sort of exchanges as possible. But if you were to go there and view it in a certain way, then you would be able to obtain all of that information in the same place.
So, people that can view that information, would you have to be like pre-registered, or like would you have like?
You would have to have some arcane skill.
Well,
Quite a
we- yeah, that
considerable amount of arcane skill.
Well, that can be arranged. Well, for example, without the arcane skill, I assume the book would not reveal anything, or you would only be able to write it, perhaps.
You would be able to view the information that is publicly accessible to everyone. The contents of a shipment, for example. That would not be kept secret. Otherwise, how would we account for them?
Well, but that is still useful to know. Well, I think that should at least give us a starting point. So you have the name of the buyer, seller. What do you have on the seller?
Again, that information will be in the book.
Yes, but like I'm trying to ask you what else you have. You might you already had a name of one person, so that's more than just the book.
I only knew his name because other members of my network knew he was coming to make the deal. When you have previously embarrassed yourself in front of a customer, you tend to take certain precautions that it doesn't happen again.
I imagine with this one.
The rest of the information, other than the selling price, is all I know.
Oh, I guess the selling price would reveal something about the quality of the weapon.
I think we can probably assume it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, but
140 platinum, to be precise.
Oh, fuck.
Huh.
But it's not as bad as I assumed.
Or
No,
you
that's still a
assuming?
lot.
I was expecting into well into 1,000. It's like for like a batch of, first stage weapons. It's a pretty good deal. And not just any first stage weapon. Like these are quite something, by the sounds of it.
Well, we've seen, because wasn't Lithari's sword also the same material?
It
Or
was,
was
yes.
hers just... Yeah, so we've seen them. They're fucking wild shit. Or we've seen a
Yes.
sword, at least.
Well,
And also,
uh,
as a point of clarification, the sword that Lithari created, Lithari had barely even begun to harness what the metal was capable of.
That was,
I would also
relatively speaking, amateur hour.
Amateur hour by a master smith.
Right. Which is saying a lot, really, when you think about it.
But yeah, does Odirban Tarland look like he's holding anything back?
Make me an
Information-wise?
insight check.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Ah,
Everything he's saying, is reserved and calculated.
That was fairly obvious.
yeah, that's pretty. That's also pretty consistent with how he's
Yeah.
talked
He is
constantly.
he is talking like a man who does not want to A, ruin his business, or B, end up in prison.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that is...
Okay.
Well,
Well-
I feel like if you're dealing with the people he's dealing with, he has bigger problems than losing his business or prison by saying the wrong thing.
Yeah, you know. I mean, we're not going to be the one to threaten him with that, but, you know.
I guess I will look to the half elf and be like, "Is there anything else then?"
Llewelyn sort of parts his hands and just says, I need all the information I can get.
I mean, it sounds like that book is our best... Or record, or whatever it is.
Oh,
Because there's information in there that might be useful to us as well.
Yeah.
definitely.
So where is the book?
At this point, Odirban sort of grimaces and says, I knew you were going to say that.
Oh, he doesn't fucking know.
No, he has to... Well,
So, thanks to your friend's interruption of my work, I had to make an involuntary closing of my access to the point of exchange. To cut a
Which
long story
means?
short, I burned out my key. I can reopen the door, but I will not have the same permissions as I would if I were going in with a fresh key. Also, I can't really give you the key, but in a circumstance such as this, I'm not going to stop you taking it. If that makes sense.
I see what
Yeah,
you're
that makes
saying.
sense.
yeah.
Well, that is...
I will also point out that your staff is still there.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. It's in that room, in the room.
In the exchange, yes. I had some assistants doing the work, and it was the safest place for us both to work on it.
Yeah. With that, Elizabeth just flops her head back, just goes, "Ah."
Well, okay, makes sense. So from what I've gathered, you're basically you have this shared little pocket dimension that people can gain access to, and that's where everything is happening.
You're not far off.
Okay, well, what is the answer then?
It is a small portable location, located a short distance out into the astral sea. It is well protected from the outside effects, but things may behave a little differently than what you're expecting there.
What do you mean by that?
In the astral sea, magic can be somewhat unpredictable. It is a good defense against the more arcanely proficient just popping in on a whim. Just be careful using anything that attempts to modify your form or alter your positioning within reality whilst you're there. Oh, and watch out for the spiders.
Well, there is still one little issue here. We can't really tell if this is a setup. It seems a little convenient. If you don't know if you agree with me or not, but anyway, I'm sure you can see where I'm coming from.
As a GM, I'm not really sure what this is.
Oh, now what I'm saying is, well, because he's he's basically telling us how and where we have to go with this key, and he's basically explained everything, and that's like warning us, like, oh yeah, just be careful with this, and you'll be fine. And I'm saying, like, yeah, I'm not entirely sure we can trust everything you're saying.
Right. Okay.
So what do you have any plans this afternoon?
He sort of like looks at you with a worried sort of look and says, if you think I'm going to go in there with an unauthorized key, no, that's... Without sufficient protections, that would be suicide. If you're worried that I'm going to double-cross you, for starters, it's not very good for business if I do that to everyone who wants to see my place of work, but may I remind you, you also owe me... I am also owed a great deal of money for my work. I have not yet been paid.
That is true. Oh.
Plus, I feel like if you aren't coming back, your friend here is going to want information by different means, by which I'm not going to be able to provide him, and let's just say I don't want either of those circumstances to come to pass.
I'm just gonna give me a second. You guys got any suggestions, or do we just want to? What do you guys think? On one hand, I feel like we could head in. However, there is clearly some risks, more so than usual, by going in with this burnt-out key or whatever whatever it is.
I mean, we don't really have any other way of getting the information at this point, do we?
Not really.
Old
No.
staff.
And the staff is already just leaving a staff out and about is a little problematic considering its previous use.
Hmm.
Um, oh, actually, you know what? I have an idea. Because if we have just a small, just a small possession, it's like you can use magic to track him down, right? Just in case.
Track who down? Sorry.
Track down Odirban.
We have a thing to track him down. He literally gave us a thing to help us find him.
Oh yeah, that's
did.
true.
That's what the weird crystal compass is for.
Yeah.
That I've
Well, I
still
guess
got.
we. Well, I guess that should be good enough. Admittedly, that's relying on him, not like relying on his equipment, but I'm guessing it will be personal enough.
Well, I also have a new spell that would help.
Well, but that's just it's more of an insurance policy than anything else.
The insurance
Um,
policy is we're not paying him until.
But for purposes of if you wanted to have a thing for a target for scry or something similar, yes, you can have a physical possession of his to do that. I mean, he can't really stop you. You could just pick up anything in this room.
Yeah. You can't stop us.
I mean, also, like, we'd return it. We're not assholes.
And also, like I said, the compass is his physical possession. That could also feasibly be used as a target for scrying.
Well, in that
But,
case,
also,
think...
I can't even do scrying.
Well, no, but we know someone who can. A little ways away, but I'm sure we can.
When Odirban sees you, like with the having this conversation, you have like the crystal compass out. He goes, "I will need that back when you're done."
Well,
Oh yeah, when we're done.
look, assuming we don't make any horrendous discoveries, you'll be fine. However,
Everything that Grim say sounds like a threat.
like it's
Because
just
at the
the way it
moment-
is.
Grim
If we
just has the worst way of phrasing things in the history of the world.
That's why he's grim.
And yet we still let him talk, which is the
I don't
funniest-
know why we keep letting him speak.
because none of us want to lead the conversation.
like he's an honest man. It's just like if you have a
The way
skeleton
you
in your
phrase
closet,
things just makes
might...
it sound like the most threatening way you could possibly have done it.
Yeah, it's like don't worry,
Every
we
time.
will kill you.
No, like I didn't say we'll kill you. It just said like
That makes it worse. The fact that it was so vague.
We won't hurt you unless.
Anyways, sorry, I just
Yeah.
No,
I was
I was feeling
floored.
it too, Jayla. I was just, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck
It's
is he
honestly
saying?
it's just the phrasing that gets me every time.
Classic grim.
oh, this is fine.
Anyway,
Don't worry about it.
Oh my god.
I'm worried about it.
See, the only
Anyway.
thing I could have changed about Grim to make this even better is if he always smiled.
Oh, fuck me.
No, that would be worse. Please don't.
Mhm.
anyway.
But no, yes. Well, you'll get it back. But yeah, you said something about you'll never survive if you go. So, like, I assume there's more than just spiders on the other side in that case.
There are certain defense mechanisms designed to keep people out.
Well, care to elaborate?
I didn't design the thing, so I can't tell you. All I know is that if you come in without authorized access, bad things happen. Also, if you touch anything that isn't yours while you're in there.
Okay, so this key that we're going to take, what exactly does it give us access to do?
It'll get you to the Astral Sea.
That's literally it.
Well,
Well,
a special portion of the
it'll-
Astral Sea.
It will get you to the installation.
Will it bring us back as well?
Coming back is not a problem.
Oh.
There are specific anchors on there that will, well, one of them will bring you back here. It should be obvious which one. There are others as well. I don't actually know where they go, as I've never had any reason to use them.
Say, after we've used this key and we've made it back out, would we be able to use it again?
Sort of like looks at you and sort of says, I shouldn't really even let you use it now. In fact,
I'm aware of this.
for clarification, I'm not letting you use it. You are using it without my express permission, under duress.
Under duress.
Well, then,
Sure,
well,
if that helps.
like if it helps you, we could say you're under duress whilst answering the question.
I am
but-
under duress right now.
Well, you're not acting like it.
That is because
Or are
I'm
we treating you
trying to
like
be a
it?
rational businessman.
Right, so this key
But
grants
yes.
us nothing but access to this weird facility.
To the installation, yes.
So if we try to read this book or take the staff, shit's gonna go bad.
Well, technically, if you take your staff, the spiders should leave you alone. If you
Okay.
read the book, that should be fine as well. It's technically not belonging to anyone, but if any of the other belongings have been marked specifically for an individual, then touching them will, well, it... To be truthful, I don't know what will happen to you, but
You don't want to find out, really.
Right, so that's good. That means we can just go there, we can read this book, we can take the staff, and then we can leave.
Except
There's
it's never
one.
that simple.
I assume there is the inherent risk of running into someone.
potentially. If you run into someone who is there under their own purposes, they might see you and alert
just
some
leave.
sort of security. There are built-in security.
Yes. Well, we got that far. No, it was more. I was more concerned about a single. Well, like one person in particular. It would be rather unfortunate to meet in there.
Ah, good point.
And considering they have been watching us on and off.
Well, I mean, if we're quick.
Well, we'll see. Well, it's a volatile plane, so they won't be able to use too many fancy magics. Hopefully.
Famous last words.
Right.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I'd also like to point out if they can't use fancy magics, then like gestures to self.
so
Yeah. Other ways of doing things too, though.
since we're probably I'm pretty sure we're going in there now, or today. With
Llewelyn.
Iavosi? I'm just gonna go with Iavosi. It's easier.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. I don't want to seem rude. However, it might be an idea to leave you behind.
Yeah, he sort of offers a low nod and sort of says, yes, I take no offense to that statement. In fact, if it's all the same to you, I would prefer to stay here.
Okay.
I am combat capable, but arcane defenses are. I have little experience with them.
Any estimate of how long this will take? A trip like this? Like, how long would it usually take you to get in and out, Odirban? Assume this is a matter of...
Odirban sort of thinks for a moment and sort of says, well, time does work a little differently in the Astral Sea, but as long as you remain within the installation, everything should be as normal. Normally, I go there for anywhere between a couple of hours and days at a time, but to get in, to retrieve your belongings, and to come out again, it shouldn't take you more than an hour.
Well, that gives us an idea of the size, at least.
Okay.
And it means that you probably actually wait here instead of, coming
The
back some other
installation
day.
is not huge.
Yeah. Also, where exactly is all this stuff so that we know where we're going?
I assume it will show itself.
So, you want to know, you want him to explain where stuff is in the installation?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to tell him where the staff is and where the book is so we can do those things and leave.
So when you arrive, you'll appear in the eastern wing. Well, we call it the eastern wing. It was the eastern wing when it was constructed, but due to the nature of the Astral Sea, the compass directions could...
Anyway.
Never mind.
It's the Eastern Wing. Just fucking talk.
Yes, you'll arrive in the eastern wing. There are a number of entryways and exits. Be cautious around the gateways. If you go through them, you will end up in a different location, and there's no guarantee you'll be able to get back easily.
Lovely.
Okay. Careful of gateways.
You'll see the main door directly in front of you when you come in, or it should be directly in front of you at least, was last time. Large set of big double doors. Through there, you'll find the main exchange. Between there... You know what, it doesn't matter. Essentially, just don't go into any of the side rooms. That's where you're most likely to run into people. But yes. Main corridor to the center of the installation. Once you get to the center of the installation, within that central chamber, you should find the book. It's easy enough to locate. It's basically in the middle of the room. The staff will be in my personal laboratory. How best to explain the laboratories to you? It's probably, again, easier if I just tell you where not to go. There are... If you pass directly across from the entryway, you'll see another doorway. Don't go in that one. Instead, go to the door slightly to the side. A smaller door. It'll then loop around to the right. You'll see a series of doors at regular intervals. Third on the left.
Just let me write this down.
Yeah, should probably write it down.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, unless anyone has any other questions that they need to ask, give us the fucking key.
Wait. Hey, come on, a little bit. It can be a little nicer. And then to get out, we head back for the same portal, for the same gateway.
Yes, just look for my sigil.
Yes. Well, I have a plan that, just in case. Don't worry, nothing fancy. Just
Okay, well.
If it gets confusing, we have a little bit of chalk that we can rub away as we go back.
Okay. Now, give us this key that we're taking from you.
Odirban,
You are very.
Odirban straightens up and says, "I absolutely refuse to give you the key."
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Give the key.
Can I just take it off of him?
Well, he doesn't proffer anything to you. He sort of rolls his eyes and says, "I definitely am not giving you the key. Even if I had such a key, it would definitely not be located in a small lockbox under my desk."
Okay, great.
Fantastic.
I'm going to go and take the key from the small lockbox under his desk.
How does anyone trust you as anything?
Oh, curses! How did you find it? Don't use that!
I'm going to use this key.
I absolutely forbid you from using the key.
Well, it's my key now, so... And I'm just going to flip him off.
Okay.
Anybody else
Wow.
think Elizabeth is enjoying this too much?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little.
Okay, Elizabeth, so you are in possession of, basically, imagine like a horseshoe shape, except the horseshoe forms like a bulb and pinches inwards until it becomes two very close together parallel prongs. Give me an Arcana check.
Cool.
Okay.
Also cool.
Do you have access to the spell, I think it's Plane Shift?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Would this happen to be a fork associated
Uh,
with a forked metal rod worth at least 250 gold,
So
attuned to the astral sea?
it is, but it's a little different.
Oh.
So as you examine this, it is indeed a tuning fork attuned to the astral sea, but it is a tuning fork that basically within itself is capable of plane shifting a number of individuals.
Oh, so I don't even have to cast the spell? Or do I still have to cast the spell?
I will say with a 29 on an Arcana check, if you cast the basically you can cast the spell with the tuning fork, but judging from the conversation that you've had with Odirban, if you were to cast it using the tuning fork, you wouldn't quite have the right frequency to basically you'd go in like as a stranger rather than with whatever coding this is coded to, except for the fact that as you examine it, the coding is basically been nullified. It's like imagine if you had a tuning fork that perpetually hummed, and then you knocked it against something, it would lose its specific tuning.
Right.
It's
Okay.
it's still in the astral sea, it's still the same location, but it's not on the same frequency.
Okay. I'm gonna put that in my pocket.
But yeah, so basically it is a single-use plane shift to that location. So are you using it now, or are you just pocketing it?
I mean, I'm just pocketing it for now.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say, right. Now that that's out of the way,
Well,
now that we have
Do we-
forcefully taken this key,
I'm like, before we use this key, is there anything anybody knows that we should pair?
that we should
Because
walk.
it might
Prepare.
be an idea to use use Arya's sneaking abilities to our advantage.
I mean, I could do that.
Oh, you
Is it-
mean like pre-casting
Yeah,
Pass Without a Trace?
pre-casting Pass Without a Trace. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean that's probably
Um,
about as good as we can do, isn't it?
Yeah, because
I'm guessing-
I'm assuming none of you are wearing armor or anything at this point.
No, because we were on a ship.
Although we should maybe we should just wear our armor. I think it's better to, like, the odds of us not getting caught are so slim.
Yeah, all right, let's armor up.
Okay. You spend the 10 minutes equipping.
Yup.
That's the other reason I didn't use it right now.
Well, be careful with magic, and let's see how this goes.
Elizabeth.
I'm gonna take the key out and just go. Right. To the Astral Sea.
You
Let me use
all
the key.
you all hustle up, hold hands. Elizabeth, you speak a few words to activate the key. And yeah, basically all of you disappear from your current location and reappear in a semicircular room. Looking around, the room is empty aside from a basically a number of they look like what's the best way to I guess they look like mirrors that are tilted at like a 45-degree angle. Except they each of their surfaces appears to shimmer and emit a faint light. As you look around in this room with the shimmering like frames, you notice that there are probably in fact, no, there are precisely 10 frames. Each of which has an insignia, which it's easy enough to identify which one of these is Odirban's. As you take in the rest of the room, you see the large, a large stone archway with a wooden set of double doors, as well as on one of the wings, or on one of the edges of the wing, there is a large open window. And as all of your gazes fall upon this window, you immediately feel a strange sense of almost like vertigo as you stare out into the swirling,
That's a little
inky
trippy.
mists of the Astral Sea.
Hello and welcome to Dungeons and Dragons: The Second Age.
In space.
I cannot believe
It's
that
really
we
funny
chose-
that you said that during the
Yep.
beforehand, and I was sitting here just like, fuck.
We called it.
Dungeons
Plot
and Dragons:
twist.
The Second Age in space.
But yes, as you look out of this window, you see basically there is appearing to drift slightly in the midst of this astral sea is a flat plate that your current location is constructed on. Looking out of the window, you see two curved buildings with corridors that lead to like a large central squat-looking building with a dome on top. There are parts of this thing that look like they're either under construction or in some state of disrepair or were never fully constructed to begin with. But from what you can tell, the majority of this place is it's constructed and sealed, but yeah, it's easy to see why Odirban told you there were places that you shouldn't go, because there are places that are quite obviously still just slightly exposed to the Astral Sea. So unless you want to drift off into the Astral Sea, then you should probably avoid them.
Yeah.
Right. Let's now go through the big door and follow the corridor straight on to the center, not going through any of the side doors.
Okay.
Well, look, if there's windows in them.
Grim?
Well,
Not
if there's
Not
windows in
fucking
them,
around!
Through any of the side doors.
I can't believe Miss. Oh, first I have to grab all the first aid stack is not interested in a space station.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's also a space station full of death.
That didn't bother you
Let's
last.
just go and find what we came here for, and let's get.
Like, yeah, I just want my staff.
So you push open the heavy wooden doors.
Yes.
And yeah, as you step through them, there is indeed a long corridor with a number of doors at fairly regular intervals along it, leading to another set of doors at the far end. The slightly unsettling thing about the corridor in front of you is the number of basically small stone structures that intersperse the doors. There's maybe there are 6, maybe 7. It's difficult to tell because the number of doors varies on each side. Sort of pairs of these statues, each of which seems to show some strange visage of... It's hard to tell. They look like maybe they're elves, but they have really long, sallow-looking faces, and their ears are long and pointed, but far more exaggerated than any elf.
The World of Warcraft elves.
Wow.
Not quite.
Oh.
Some of them appear to have, unlike almost every elf you've ever met, facial hair.
Oh,
Oh my god.
quite startling.
Some of them with pencil thin goatees or whatever along their long
Oh god, they're
stretched
pedophiles.
chins. Wow.
Oh my god.
Ow!
Some of them have long wispy tumbling beards. I guess people can give me either a... No, I guess this would be an Arcana check.
Okay.
All of us.
Anyone who wants to.
I mean, sure, why not?
I did it.
I guess.
We're lucky,
Would my what's it called?
Hey, high five for the +0 15 boys.
Would
Fuck
my
yeah!
Quagrim, roll a 15
No,
on the dice.
I'm trying to ask something.
No.
Would my artificer's lore apply?
I will say no for this.
Come on.
Bro,
roll,
nod 15.
roll a 15 on the
+0.
dice.
Roll a 15, you gotta.
Come on.
Oh shit!
Oh, it's
16.
one off.
You were so close.
Okay.
16.
Because yeah,
Fuck, we were
that's
so
3 out of 4
close.
rolls were a 15 on the dice. One had a
So
+11.
none of you can identify what these figures are, but for Elizabeth and Grim, they ring a faint bell in the back of your minds. You've seen figures like this before. Illustrated in the illustrated in some of the pages of the books in Lathermann's library.
Dear God.
Mostly on things concerning anything that talked about the giving life to the constructs, or anything to do with magic of the mind or magic of divination. But they were never named.
Alright.
But from looking at these things, it's entirely possible that these are possibly the races that basically came before the modern races, or the races of the First Age and beyond.
I was just gonna pee herself.
Along the range of, like, the primordials and stuff like that.
Cool.
Which suggests this structure may predate when it was co-opted by these individuals.
Cool.
It's possibly also worth noting for those of you with a high passive perception.
Hello.
The stonework in this corridor and in the statues looks older than the stonework that from the room you just entered.
Interesting.
Cool. Let's now resist the temptation to want to know more about this place and just do what we came here for.
Sounds like you.
Look, last time we did all this. Last time we
moving.
had this conflict, we were at least on the material plane.
So you are proceeding down the corridor towards the other end.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not looking in any of the side doors.
Cool. As you proceed down the corridor, I need everybody to make me an intelligence saving throw.
Ah, cool.
Hooray!
Love that I have a 0 on intelligence.
It's fine if you're close to me.
Ah!
Oh, that's a point. Is it a? Is this to resist magic?
No.
Oh
Fuck's
yeah,
sake.
I should know.
High five, Arya!
Woo!
Oh, actually, we rolled the exact same thing again.
Nice.
Oh
Also
my God,
got
you did.
We're psychically linked.
Fuck
So,
yeah.
I kind of need Mike Merle's ruling on whether psionics are technically magic. I don't believe they are. So,
Well, it's fine. I still nailed it.
so I suppose technically that's a 14 from Grim, so that's
Yes.
+3 from Kelariis, is it? Or +2?
Yep. It's +3.
Plus
Thank
3.
you very much.
Okay. I could not recall.
Yeah, I got
Sorry,
28.
that sounded sassy. I was just.
So,
So-
thank you very much that did it.
Elizabeth and Grim, you are immune to the effects of this. Arya and Kelariis. There is... you become aware of basically like a low hum. Almost like somebody is humming, like right next to your ears.
Okay.
Oh no.
Um,
Don't like that.
what's the most efficient way to do this? I guess the most efficient way to do this is for me to roll it. Okay. So the two of you are basically suddenly floored by the most intense vertigo you've ever experienced.
Great.
It is telling which is up, down, left, right is suddenly impossible for you.
Lovely. Love that.
Lovely.
Um,
Fantastic.
So, Elizabeth and Grim, you, as you're sort of walking down this corridor, Arya and Kelariis suddenly just like lurch and wobble as if they've suddenly just lost their balance, and the two of them go down.
Well,
Okay, yeah, well, Elizabeth's gonna quickly turn around and go, "Oh, guys, you okay?" And try to help them up.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'd help them. Try help them up as well.
Yeah, you can do that, but like basically, they are incapable of walking essentially.
Huh,
hmm.
Well,
this is bad.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
This is very unfortunate.
we can't. We're... Can we dispel it? You've got like dispel magic, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and cast dispel
is it-
magic.
Is it a spell? Because if
I
it's a
mean-
spell,
But like we don't
Yeah,
know.
well, yeah,
We'll find out.
well, yeah. Oh, actually,
yeah.
well, yeah. Can I first please try and examine, figure out what might have happened?
Make me a medicine
If it is
check.
in fact actually dispellable.
Make me a medicine check. Okay,
Damn.
you have no idea.
Damn.
Lovely.
Guess we're just gonna have to try.
I'm gonna try and cast dispel magic on Arya.
Okay,
No, on Kelariis.
okay, you begin to cast dispel magic on Kelariis. What level are you casting dispel magic at?
Just third.
Just third. Okay. I need a d8. Okay. What school of magic is dispel magic?
Abjuration.
Abjuration. Okay. So
Technically, blah, 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 blah. What?
So you cast dispel magic on Kelariis. Technically, this is the effect of a spell. Elizabeth, you cast a spell. Kelariis, you feel the vertigo like peel away from you. Elizabeth, as you do so, you feel your arcane ward kick in, but there's something else when you cast the spell, almost like feedback from the spell. You don't suffer any ill effects from it, but it feels weird.
Interesting.
I don't like that. Well, I guess that means Kelariis comes to Elizabeth just unusually straight back, eyes wide, just like, what the fuck?
We didn't pass out. I mean,
Well, yeah, but she's like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So suddenly, like your clarity clears.
my clarity clears.
My clarity clears.
Well,
it's
yours
good.
doesn't.
What a sentence.
Yours doesn't. Kelariis' does.
Looking at the way that Elizabeth looks, I take it you don't want to have to do that again. Whatever you did to me.
That felt weird.
Arya, can you make me another intelligence saving throw, please? Okay.
+3.
Oh yeah. So Arya, you're after maybe about 10 seconds of this like intense vertigo that like knocks you off your feet, it slowly begins to clear of its own.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say to Kelariis, please don't make me cast magic because something weird just happened there, and I really don't want to find out and find out if something bad will happen if I cast more.
Okay. I guess like the thing is that knowing that didn't sit so well with Elizabeth, I was gonna try to turn and help Arya. I guess if it looks like she's getting up.
Yeah, like Arya is like slowly pulling herself to her feet, like still visibly like sort of shaking. Oh, you were concentrating on is pass without trace concentration?
I was not. We didn't do pass out trace.
Oh, yeah. I guess forgot.
Oh yeah, we didn't do that in the end. Okay,
Because you guys armored up, so.
Yeah,
That's fine.
so at that point,
Yeah.
it's like,
yeah, no worries. That's not important then. Cool. Yeah. So you are. Well,
is that
yeah,
one of the
you're
gate-
all okay now.
Okay.
Oh, lovely.
Just to reassure you, nothing bad happened. Just a weird thing. But I don't want something bad to happen.
Well, I guess we'll avoid you having to use magic as much as possible then.
Yeah.
Yes,
Just
please.
it goes for all of you.
Yeah. Well, he did specifically mention arcane magic, so I wonder.
Just to try and avoid it.
Better
Fair.
safe than sorry. Let's
Yeah.
just go.
He specifically said avoid things that alter your form or location in space.
Right.
Right, let's just go.
Oh, that means no Misty Step. Damn.
So you guys continue down this corridor.
Yes, please.
Okay. So you make it maybe another half the distance between you and the door. I need another round of intelligence saving throws, please.
Oh my god.
Fuck. Where's my...
You know what, Rob? Fuck you.
Oh my god. Oh, for fuck's
Amazing.
sake.
Oh my god, why?
This is just how it is, though, for us. We're
It is
fucked if
just
there's
how
ever
it is.
intelligence saves.
Okay. So, Arya and Kelariis, as you continue to walk down this corridor, you feel the humming sound build up again, and for a moment, it's like everything you do is like moving in slow motion.
Great.
Yeah, you have disadvantage on anything that involves dexterity.
Cool.
How lovely. This is great.
Love
Cool.
that for us.
Let's keep going.
Me after I went to sleep at 2 a.m.
So,
Oh god, this is
True.
so you're continuing to walk towards the end of this corridor. I need another intelligence saving throw from Arya and Kelariis.
god.
+3.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Oh, that's a decent one.
Okay.
Hey.
So, by the time you reach the end of the corridor, the sensation of everything moving in slow motion has receded. However, I need everybody to make another round of intelligence saving throws.
Oh, for
God.
fuck's sake. Oh, for fuck's Why?
Oh my
Every goddamn time.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my
We could
god.
just lie on the floor at this point. It's like high five, Arya.
High five for
Pretty
shitty
bad.
intelligence.
Woo!
Well, like I feel like even with an amazing intelligence, she would still have failed.
Shush.
Kelariis definitely would have.
Okay.
Look. Kelariis is not known for her intelligence, okay? We've established this many times.
Yes, we have.
So, Arya and Kelariis,
Yeah.
you
What's up?
you blink for a moment as this humming continues to you're getting used to this humming like repeatedly like building up and like all sorts of strange sensations happening. All of a sudden you blink and it's like the whole world turns off for a second.
Oh.
Arya and Kelariis, you awaken in a strange place. You're in a stone corridor with a bunch of very odd statues. There's a number of doors on each side, and as you sort of come to, there's a bunch of other people in this room. Kelariis, as you look upon this group, one of them like is rubbing their head, looks like the figure of an elf. And then in front of you, giving you sort of concerned looks, there's a gnome in armor and a blue-skinned woman in robes. You have no idea how you got here. Arya, you're having a similar experience. You turn, there's a very disoriented-looking dragonborn in full plate armor. A blue-skinned
Are these
woman.
us from the future or some bullshit?
Yeah, you have no recollection of how you got here.
Great.
Oh, lovely.
So, I will say, as sort of like an out of character thing, you guys have basically had your memory of like the last 10 minutes basically wiped.
Lovely.
Right. Yeah, I was like, great, fantastic. So do we not remember like who we're with?
There's like a moment of cognitive dissonance.
Ah, I see.
Well, I mean, I guess if Elizabeth's like not turned around to immediately notice this, she's just gonna be like reaching for the door. I'd be like, no one opened a side door, did?
Not yet.
To be quite honest, in a very disoriented state, I think Kelariis is just drawing her sword because she doesn't know what's happened.
Okay, so like you guys hear the sound of sword coming out of scabbard, and yeah.
Kelariis?
Kelariis, please don't do that. That's a bad idea. That's a very, 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 very bad idea.
When they say your name, you start to like get recollections of who these people are.
But not why or where we are, kind of thing.
Yeah, like you remember the last thing you remember is being in a room having a conversation about going to find a book.
Where the hell are we?
Okay, this is very bad. Keep walking with us, and we'll explain. Basically, we're on the Astral Sea, and we need to find a book with information, and we need to find that staff that we left with Mr. Tarland.
Oh my god.
Some of those names are ringing bells, but yeah, like it's a little disconcerting. Like your recollection of these are your companions are sort of like coming back to you, but
Look, just can we start with putting the sword away, please, and then
I think, yeah, if I'm starting to like remember that they're like companions and not just total strangers to me,
Yeah.
I'll probably like sheathe the sword, but still like keep my hand on.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are sufficiently freaked.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
so.
Just freaked.
yeah, and let's just be like, okay, guys, look, just come with me. We'll be fine. I'll explain as we go. I'm going to reach to try and take them by the hand so I can lead
Nope.
them.
If you
No?
try to touch me, I am
absolutely
not gonna
not.
react.
Okay. No touching, but look, guys. Oh, god damn it. Basically, we go back to Tarland. Tarland's being questioned by the apprentice of Lathermann, who I know you guys, who I think you guys know. I don't know her, but you guys met her.
Yeah, this part of the conversation you guys
yeah.
remember.
Yeah, do
Right.
you remember that? That's good, yeah.
Right.
So, on behalf of the apprentice guy, we have to go and find a book that's got information on who bought all those evil, like, dark steel weapons. And on top of that, the staff that Mr. Tarland promised to, repair for us is also still here.
Well, to be fair, if they
So
lost
we're
the last
literally
10
just-
minutes, they should still know all this.
Yeah, but you guys don't know that they've lost only 10 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
This is in character.
So, yeah. So this was So we went back to the we went to the astral plane, which is where this weird facility is, where everything is. We're gonna go read the book. We're gonna get the staff, and then we're gonna leave.
Okay.
So we just ended up here.
I teleported us here.
Pretty much, but let's keep moving.
Yeah, we don't want to run into bad people because, you know, like big vampire lord who we don't like might be here, maybe. So we want to be quick.
So you guys continue on. You push through the next set of doors.
Yes.
And yeah, you step into a large room, large circular chamber with a domed ceiling. Ira and Kelariis, you look out through this domed ceiling, and the vast expanse of the astral sea spreads out in front of you for the first time
Oh,
again.
God.
I feel sick.
Please don't be sick. Yeah, we're in the astral sea. It's very disorienting. Please don't be sick.
Just gripping the hilt of my sword
Yeah.
tighter and just gritting my teeth like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
There's something that is missing with this because you felt like you were unable to. Well.
Oh yeah,
move
you guys
earlier.
like fell over earlier. Basically, something's messing with your brains.
But how? Like, can we see
Well,
the end of the
all of our
hallway?
brains.
Did we get concussions when we fell?
No.
I think Kelariis is probably familiar with the concept of a concussion after being in the military.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
probably so.
Elizabeth's just gonna go. No. You just lost all sense of which way was the right way.
But like, guys, just keep on moving.
Yeah,
we
so
don't have time
you,
for this.
you've pushed through the doors and you're now in the central chamber. As you look around this place, it has basically like a ring of benches and like a central pedestal with like a wooden, almost like I forget what they're called, like a pulpit. Almost like a circular pulpit in the center of the room, where atop this small pulpit is basically a table with a folded book laid upon it, and what looks like space on either side, like covered with different coloured cloths. And I think that is where we will take a short break.
Okay.